Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Driveway Engineer. I'm JR. This is Daryl. That is Coconut. She's very into what's going on right here. Aren't you? Are you interested? You want to say hello to the people? The brother doesn't care. Peanut, hey. Anyway, this dog's being naughty. Hey, stop. He's gonna go right back to it. All right, enough sideshow. I'm installing the Terminator X on Daryl, my 79 C10 that has a LQ4 and obviously a GT45 turbo. For right now, I'm going to go through the basics of this install, and I'm going to go through everything and install it NA like you would do and go through the wizard and start it up. Mainly because I don't have intercooler piping. I don't know where my intercooler piping went. This engine was already running and driving and everything was fine. You've seen it on the channel, or you can see it on the channel. The only thing that changed is I put the turbo back onto it and changed to 100-pound injectors from Snake Eater. So all this hardware works. Like, I drove it right to this spot. Actually, I just drove it a few days ago before I tore everything off. So, oh, and I added a flex fuel sensor. So, I got a deal on the Terminator X. You may have saw it in the other video. Seen it in the other video? I seen it. So, you know, I thought, why not? Why not show you guys what it's like? The basic install, the main harness is the same for every LS. And that's installed right now. So when I tell people, like, it's no easier than any other install, people are like, I want to do it because it's easier. It's not. This is the main harness that everybody's going to have no matter what they do. There's two grounds. I think they're the most important thing on the harness. They go to the back of each head. You have to kind of stand on your head to get to them. There's a crank sensor down below. This right here will go to your crank sensor. Cam sensor on this is in the back of the block. On Gen 4 stuff, it's in the front of the block. After that, you have a map that you don't necessarily have to use, because if you're NA, it has one on it. You have a odd side. This is even side. I think this will say like even on it. What else do we got? Knock. I hooked mine up. You don't have to. Injectors. It's the main harness. And then this is a sub harness. So mine's for EV1s, yours will be for whatever you felt was appropriate. And then they're labeled, each injector's labeled, injector, look at that, I got that wrong, injector 4, injector 2. This is 2 and this is 4. So when I see problems with these, that's the main issue, is somebody installed something wrong and didn't double check it. So if you buy an aftermarket harness from somebody like John Flanders or whatever, it'll come the same way. So this is injector 1, injector 3. It's the same stuff. Then we get into the gotchas a little bit. Actually, I'll cover. It plugs into the stock coolant temp sensor right here on the side. Then over here we got our ignition odd, which is the side of the engine. And then right here tucked up is all of the, so there's a fuel pressure sensor. I don't have that, I don't need it. Tucked up under here are all of the drive-by cable stuff. If you had drive-by cable, you would have right here your TPS, your IAC, fuel pressure sensor that you don't have to have. So this is where people start getting into like throwing hundreds of dollars of extras at it. They'll decide, there's an oil pressure sensor, you don't have to have it to run it. People will hop on, you know, Low Dollar or whatever, or Holley and Summit and start buying everything recommended. You don't have to have them to start. This is called a MAT. I always call it the IET, but it's the manifold. It's the inlet air temperature sensor. That one's out of a It's probably out of a 4.3, like S10, Bravada, whatever. Something with a 4.3. Grand Ams, Grand Prix, they have them too. But in a stock truck setup, this harness would be part of the mass airflow sensor. So you wouldn't have it anymore because this is speed density. So that's the first gotcha. The second one would be, for me, I prefer drive-by-wire because I can do other sneaky snake things with it, like traction control and get it to throttle for me, and it's easy to hook up cruise. So you can actually do cruise with a Holley now. But that'll be for another day. I don't know why I'm messing with this right now. But the drive-by-wire, so like you would think maybe that if you had a drive-by-wire harness and you had a drive-by-wire throttle, it would be all good. But the reality is that the Holley does not support the early Gen 3 3-bolt style drive-by-wire stuff at all. Somebody out there might make, this is a 2, 4, 6, 8 pin. Somebody out there might make an adapter. I don't know. This is a Gen 4 style off that Trailblazer SS, our new body style truck intake over there that I got off the ground at the junkyard as usual. This one will plug into the harness. So we have a new pedal now, we have a new throttle body now, and also I don't know if I mentioned this in the other video, but this harness that I bought doesn't do trans control. So I had to buy, again, you can buy these plugins, but I bought one of these J4 connectors, and when it shows up, I'll wire it myself. It's like 40 bucks. So yeah, that's, I'm gonna throw the throttle body on there, and it is bigger, but it's not a performance advantage. Like it doesn't, the opening in the intake's no bigger, so it doesn't matter. I'm just doing this because I already own this throttle body, so the easiest route for me to get running was to buy this adapter, put the throttle body I already own on it, be done. So yeah, I think that today I'm going to swap my pedals out. I think I powder coated, yeah, I powder coated this bracket for this truck style pedal. So the 6.5 diesel pedal will come out of Darrow. That style will go in, and I'll bring you guys back when it's time to show you a little more, which might not even be today, but we'll see. All right, so we're back. I wanted to show you guys what this looks like before it's all like up in the dash and you can't see it anymore. Out of the Terminator X main harness, you'll have these 3 wires here that'll be coiled up, and they call them a loose wire bundle. And then somewhere else, not that one though, there's a lot of wires. So this is why people buy these and then get intimidated and pay somebody else to install them in the end. Up here further, you see that there's a red, another red, and a black wire. So this other red wire actually has a white tracer on it. So you have blue, green, red, closer to where it octopuses out. And then further up, closer to the PCM, you have red, white, and black right here. So these 2 wires, this green one's for a fuel pump, if you want to have the PCM trigger your fuel pump, or you don't have to. And this blue one's for attack if you have attack, which I do not. So I'm going to coil these 2 up and put them away, but that's what you would use them for. If your fuel pump draws more than 15 amps, you need to use this to trigger a relay to trigger the fuel pump. And then these 2, this one's a ground, it goes directly to ground. Which mine's hooked right there for right now, poorly. And then this red with a white tracer goes to an ignition on, which on most Chevys, there's a pink wire coming out of the bulkhead, which is a switch 12 volt hot, that's hot in crank and run. What else do we got? So there's 2 plugs from the main harness that I think all Terminators will have. These 2 right here, they're not the same size, so you can't mix them up. This plug right here is the main power wire plug, and it goes directly to the battery. These are soldered and heat shrinked, and they go directly to the battery. You don't plug this in until everything else is plugged in. This is your map, so you can use Holley's internal map, or the factory map is defined, and you can just plug it in from your harness. This will plug right in, no trick here. So you can just call that out. It calls it out by part number in the wizard, which we'll go over for a second. This third that you may or may not have, this is for my drive-by-wire. So one bundle of wires goes off to the pedal. This one actually goes to the throttle body SC. This other bundle goes off to the pedal. The Holley, if you have drive-by-wire and you care, it does not work with Gen 3 drive-by-wire. So I have a spacer and a Gen 4 off the Trailblazer SS intake I have. We can go inside the truck. Actually, we cannot. There's one more wire I didn't show you. I'm sorry. There's also, out of the main harness, this red wire that I didn't show you when I showed you the yellow, out of the same loop. This goes directly to the battery, okay? This is not the way to do it, obviously. I shouldn't have to tell you that, I don't think, but not the way to do it. But that's the way we're gonna do it right now, so I can show you the wizard and stuff. Further up, almost all the way in, is the CAN plug, which goes to your little handheld or your Pro Dash if you felt the need to have a 70-inch plasma in your classic truck. If you're actually racing, you might want that kind of stuff. I'm not, and I don't. You're gonna find it very difficult to use the screen without the stylus, so have the stylus handy, keep it handy. Once you have everything hooked up, there's my Silverado pedal down there on the floor. I actually remember why I didn't use that in the first place, because the bracket that I made was poor, put it in a poor position. I wound up having to print a spacer to lift it up. I got frustrated because the 6.5 pedal fits, so I just got that and put it in. Key on for the first time. Stuff will happen. Perhaps. Hold on a second. All right, sorry about that, technical difficulties. Once you have your stylus and you're ready to key on, and you've checked for leaks, which I do by pissing stuff all over the floor, you key it on, and you'll get this cool little boot up screen. So you're gonna go to Wizards, and you're gonna go, it's probably gonna prompt you to do a TFS auto set or TPS auto set, but you actually need to go here. I'll go back to show you guys. Wizards, GCF Wizard, and you're gonna do MPFI, and you're gonna do GMLS, and you're gonna do 8 cylinders, and you're gonna do that firing order. And you'll put in your size here. Daryl is 6.0. Save. Next. Our target idle speed for Daryl is 850. Next. 235. This is where you put your cam in. I'm a 235 to 260 for a sloppy stage 2. I'm 24X crank. I'm 60 PSI fuel pressure. I have other injectors, which are, there's a down arrow on the right, you can't really see it. Snake Eater 1000. No power adder, the turbo's not actually plumbed to the throttle body, so ignore that. We're going to do GM part number blah 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 1 bar. It is drive-by-wire. There is no trans control at the moment. So this is the base map it's come up with that it wants to load. Load it up. Cycle the ignition. Okay, finish. And we'll turn the ignition off. I'm going to double check that I don't have leaks because I've had many. I don't see it pissing anything right now. So now you'll actually do your TPS auto set, which is essentially teaching it the beginning and end point of your pedal. Wizards, TPS auto set, ignition is on, engine not started. Slowly press the pedal to the floor and release. Do it twice. It was successful. If it's not successful, it's probably because you didn't do the initial setup. I struggled with that. Then you can hit monitor, multi-gauge, vitals. It'll give you all this stuff. You can change this, but we're not going to do that right now. It's not in learn, it is in open loop. Let's hit it. So I'm actually going to shut it off. I'm waiting for a step bit to arrive so that I can drill for my O2 sensor. Obviously I need to tidy wiring up. Clearly I need to secure my fuel lines and stuff like that. But it's pretty much that simple to start it up NA. You can kind of end watching right here if you want. I'll go on and show you guys how I pass my wire through the firewall and how I deal with the flex sensor. One nice thing about the Holley versus the factory stuff is you can just say I have a drive-by wire or I have a drive-by cable. Like if you just switch back and forth, you can just change it and it doesn't care. You don't have to do the truffle shuffle with OSs and swapping and PCM hammer trying to dodge paying credits, and so it's nice for that. Obviously it works pretty easily. Like we defined our combination correctly. A lot of people do not define their combinations correctly, and that's why they struggle. If your injectors aren't in there, don't pick some that are close. Get a laptop, get somebody to define it for you, put it on an SD card, send it to you, whatever. Same with your map sensor. Don't define one that's close. Do the right thing. That's a big part of it. So I'll bring you guys back. This is going to be a long one, but I'll bring you guys back.